Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Disastrous week comes to a close.
Push through it.
That a rental?
No.
Bought that?
I did buy this one.
Gift?
No gift. Actually bought this one, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, the Big 12 Media Day finally over with. Dion was talking yesterday. And look, you have coaches openly talking about collective bargaining, and they need to.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because there's money involved now. If you're going to have a cap, which this year is $20.5 million and should be about in the range of $21.3 million next year, you just can't arbitrarily assign the cap yourself. You have to collectively bargain it. We know that based on labor law going back to Marvin Miller back in the 70s. You have to collectively bargain. And you have to do this in such a way, I think there's a determination on the part, and I believe that the government backs this up, about the student athlete not being an employee. There is now a bill in Congress that's beginning the process. And again, look, I mean, it'll take some time, but it is a bipartisan bill. And the House settlement, essentially what they want to do is codify it. Okay? And so this is what they're looking to do. It would nationalize the standards for student pay. Okay? That's what they say they will do with it. The bill would codify the right for student athletes to get paid for the use of their name, image, and likeness, while mandating that colleges and universities also provide them with comprehensive academic, career counseling, and medical support. NIL regulations would be standardized across the country, overriding the current patchwork of state laws. More than 30 states allow colleges to pay student athletes for NIL, but no such regulations exist in others. They would be able to hire agents, which they already can, and would have to disclose their NIL deals to their schools and to nonprofit interstate and intercollegiate athletic associations and the NCAA. In other words, you'd have to report to Deloitte, right, the clearinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
For non-athlete students at colleges and universities that bring in high revenue from sports media, it would shield them from footing the bill for their colleges' athletic programs by prohibiting student fees at those schools from being used for them. The bill also expressly prohibits student athletes from being considered employees of a college over their sporting participation. It is a bipartisan bill, the product of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, the House Education and Workforce Committee, and the House Judiciary Committee. The co-sponsors are Representatives Janelle Bynum, she is a Democrat from Oregon, and Gus Bilrakis, a Republican from Florida. Committee Chairman Brett Guthrie, a Republican from Kentucky, Tim Walberg, Republican of Michigan, and Jim Jordan from Ohio, a Republican, made a joint statement and said NIL offers endless array of opportunities for student athletes to make the most of their college experience, but the lack of guide rails has left athletes and universities on unstable ground. The SCORE Act, and this is what's called the SCORE Act, creates a national framework that supports student athletes and recenters the educational mission of college athletics, they said. Now, whether student athletes should receive a portion of their school's sports media revenue and how much has been, of course, a long debate. There have been several attempts in Congress to push for legislation giving student athletes the ability to profit off their college sporting careers. Of course, the House settlement is $2.7 billion in back pay for college athletes, shut out of NIL deals between 2016 and 2024, paving the way for colleges to pay players directly. Under the bill's parameters, they would ensure that NIL deals align with fair market value, which is exactly what the clearinghouse is supposed to be doing now. It would also limit the student athlete's eligibility based on the length of their college career and create new requirements for agents not registered. The text also includes a liability shield for universities, the adoption of an agreement to compliance with or enforcement of any rule, regulation, requirement, standard, or other provision established in compliance with the SCORE Act, and it would be considered to be national law. The bill was lauded by Gus Barakis from Florida. I mean, he's one of the co-sponsors. I would hope he would laud it. Republican Scott Fitzgerald of Wisconsin and House GOP Conference Chairwoman Lisa McClain from Michigan. They all played key roles in putting the legislation together. It also has been praised by the NCAA's autonomy conferences, the ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC. They put together a statement that said the legislation comes at a time of historic transition for college athletics. In the absence of federal standards, student athletes and schools have been forced to navigate a fractured regulatory framework for far too long. Now, getting through committee, that will happen. Getting through the House, that will happen. The question is whether it can get through the Senate, because they're going to need not 50 votes, but 60 votes to get through the Senate. You know, you can get 50 votes when you have reconciliation. This is not reconciliation, which means they have to go by the standard Senate rules, which means they will need 60 votes. So say all 53 Republicans in the Senate give the thumbs up to it, they'd still need 7 Democrats. Okay? Or if all 47 Democrats said yes to it, they'd need 13 Republicans. All right? So you need 60. And this is, these bills do take time. This is not something like, hey, we did it, we passed it, we solved it, we're good, right? And it's October. No. But the SCORE Act is, I believe, is being actually formally introduced today. Because one of the concerns about the House settlement is how long is it going to hold up? I mean, is it truly long-term, especially lawsuits likely to be filed? I mean, so that is, I mean, eventually, I think you do have to get, it'd be great to have the SCORE Act, that's fine. I still think you need collective bargaining in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think in the end, you're just going to have the ability to talk to the athletes themselves. The difference between college sports, and I've pointed this out many times, but it's worth reiterating. When you are the NFLPA, you're negotiating with the NFL, 32 teams. It's football players and football franchises.
Sure.
Penn State has 31 of those. All different sports.
Mm-hmm.
That would be different. So, and they still don't have anything worked out for the playoff yet. The SEC and the Big Ten, everybody's talking about, well, the ACC and the Big 12 have power. No, they really don't, because you know what they don't have? They don't have veto power. The Big Ten and the SEC can veto plans under the new arrangement. Big 12 and the ACC can't. We mentioned the other day that the NFL might reopen negotiations on their TV deal. And again, the NBA plays a role in this. I mean, Devin Booker got, what would he get, $145 million?
Yeah.
There's nobody in the NFL making that kind of money. Nobody. All right.
Nope. Now, the guaranteed money's gone up significantly in the NFL, but nobody's making that kind of money in terms of a contract.
And Devin Booker, by the way, is a really good player.
Oh, hey,
so
absolutely.
That has nothing to do with that.
Sure.
All right. But the popularity is interesting. The NFL draft, where players, they bring out a card and they tell you your team just drafted with the 3rd overall pick. The New York Giants select from Penn State University, Abdul Carter. Abdul walks out, hugs the commissioner, holds up the jersey, walks over, is interviewed, crowd loves it, and now we go to the 4th pick. The NFL draft had higher TV ratings than Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Think about that.
Yeah.
The NFL draft, where there is no action.
Nope. It affects the future of your team, though. And fans are loyal.
Had higher TV rate, had more viewers than Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Christmas Day, owned by the NBA. No longer.
No.
The 2 NFL games on Netflix.
On streaming, yep.
On
exactly.
Netflix.
On streaming.
Blew out the NBA.
Yep.
Blew them out.
Yep.
Yet, the NBA is at this hour, because of good negotiating, is now getting more money from ESPN than the NFL is. Au contraire, mon frere. Because that doesn't work. The 2 most popular sports in the country, by far, are the NFL and college football, with the NFL being number 1.
Well, sure.
That's why all these, they're talking about bipartisan legislation and so forth. I mean, no offense, bipartisan legislation is not about men's volleyball. Okay? This is about football and men's basketball. Okay? That's what it's about, and women's basketball. Let's make sure that, because that's going to be something that will be talked about as well. But that's what it's about. The SCORE Act is about that. And we are at one of those points where you have to take a long look at the future, because you need stability. The players need stability and rules. The schools need stability and rules. And the fans, they never talk about this, but the fans need stability and rules.
Yep. Agreed.
I mean, I get so many complaints about this all the time. It's usually middle-aged to older fans who are obviously used to the old system. You go to school, you get an education, you play football, you play basketball. And look, not like I didn't sit here on this show and talk about how much an education and what a scholarship means. I've done that. I mean, how much, besides the tuition, the room, the board, right, the books, besides all that, you get 24/7 access to trainers, 24/7 access to doctors. You have training rooms, hot tubs, cold tubs, right? You've got, how much does it cost to rent James Franklin to be your head coach? How much would it cost to rent, right, Andy Koltanicki to be your offensive coordinator? How much would it cost you to rent Terry Smith to be your position coach, teaching you on an everyday basis? Yeah. How much would Chuck Losey be worth if you had to hire him?
Sure.
And Alvin Futrell and the whole group there. How much would it cost to hire them? How much would it cost to have Andy Mutnam on call for you or Tessa Johns-Bostic on call for you all the time in the training room? How much would it cost to have Dr. Wayne Sebastianelli and Dr. Gregory Billy around all the time? How much would it cost for you to rent somebody from the Morgan Academic Center? I mean, that's all, I went all through that. But this is a new era and a new time. They can get paid. They get money. And because they can, and because they forever will, you have to adapt. Okay. That's why I admire what James Franklin has done. His ability to adapt to all of this. Yeah. Because there's some people that have been in the business for a long time, and they attempted to adapt and looked around and go, you know what,
can't do it.
This isn't for me. All right? This isn't for me. And I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen...
I understand it.
Yeah, you've seen legends that obviously no longer coach because they couldn't really adapt and understood it.
Now, where do you get more money? You could get more money, for example, from the NCAA basketball tournament. So this week they sat down to talk about whether to go to 72 or 76. And they tabled it. No immediate decisions or recommendations. Dan Gavitt, and by the way, Dan Gavitt's one of those guys that is universally respected, universally trusted, and has always been somebody that made decisions for what he perceived to be the greater good. I mean, that's how highly everybody thinks of Dan. No question. So he's the senior vice president for basketball, and he said the still viable outcomes include the tournaments remaining at 68 teams or expanding to 72 or 76 in advance of the 26 or 27 championship. Now, expanding, of course, has picked up steam. Charlie Baker said it could add value, and he wants to see it resolved in the next few months. Now, it's not just immediate value. All right, you add, because there's no escalator in the contract. For Turner and CBS, there's no escalator. Between the two of them, they're paying about $1.1 billion a year. There's nothing in there that says, hey, if we go to 76 teams, you have to pay more. It's not in there. So that's why they've been sitting down with them saying, what can we work out for 4 extra games if they go to 76? Because it would be 4 extra games. And that's what they've been talking to them about. The bottom line is they're not going to, either way, they're not going away from the 64-team model. In other words, when you wake up Thursday morning on the opening week of the NCAA basketball tournament, no matter what their plan is here for the other games, there'll be 64 teams. There'll be 64 teams. That would increase the tournament from 19% of NCAA schools participating in the tournament. It would increase it to 21% if they went to 76. So that means 79% would still be out. Last year, Ohio State and Indiana, under a 76 proposal, would have made the tournament. Wake Forest from the ACC would have made the tournament. No extra Big East teams would have made the tournament. No extra SEC teams would have made the tournament. It still would have been 14 out of 16. It's a lot. Big Ten would have ended up with 10 with the Ohio State-Indiana part. Let's see. The Big 12, I think, would have had 2 extra ones in, I believe. The other 3 spots, Boise State would have had 1. Cal Irvine would have had 1. And from the Atlantic 10, who was it from the Atlantic 10? Dayton would have had 1?
I think so. Yeah, it would have been Dayton.
So you would have had the Power 5 getting 63% of those 8 bids. Currently, 2 first 4 games involve 16 seeds, as we know. And look, you and I watched St. Francis play Alabama State. We both know Rob Krimmel, right? Okay? Just on personal relationship. But let's be honest about it. Do you think somebody in the state of Texas is like going, oh, my goodness, I can't wait to watch Alabama State play St. Francis? No, but guess what? North Carolina played in the first 4 this year. And you've had teams get out of the first 4 and get to the Final 4. VCU got to the Final 4. UCLA got to the Final 4. Okay? And as they've been saying, hey, don't forget NC State advanced as a bubble team as an 11 seed. And so Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey said at a league meeting he says, I don't accept that model just continues in the future. He didn't mention NC State advancing as an 11 seed as a bubble team. He says, you go ask my colleagues in the automatic qualifier conference what should happen, and I'm certain they want that split to continue for life. But you've got some really, really good teams that I think should be moved into the tournament. And, and people talk about the power schools. Well, but there's a reality to this that isn't talked about. And the reality is based in the TV ratings. Cinderella is absolutely gorgeous in the first round of the tournament. Sure. The TV ratings show that The Shine goes off the boards the second weekend. TV ratings are always 8, 9 times out of 10 in the second weekend, when you're now to the Sweet 16 weekend. The lowest rated games normally the ones that involve the how the heck did they get here team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, do you think when Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, and I can't remember who beat Fairleigh Dickinson in the next round. And it was the opening weekend, so Fairleigh Dickinson got through one. It was a great story, but was there any interest in watching Fairleigh Dickinson in the second round? No. Florida Gulf Coast got to the Sweet 16, lowest rated game of the weekend. Why? Because they're like, okay, great. That was a lot of fun the first weekend.
Yeah.
Where's Duke?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
you notice in the Final Four this year, all chalk, all the 1 seeds made it, and how much higher were the ratings? Mm-hmm. How much higher were the ratings?
Yep. Especially with Duke being there.
Yeah, Duke was there, Auburn was there, Houston was there, Florida was there.
Yep.
Right? You had 2 SEC schools, you had a Big 12 school, you had an ACC school. TV ratings makes a difference. Why was the highest rated first 4 game ever was this year?
Yeah.
And it involved North Carolina.
Sure.
Okay. So I can see if they went to 76, it could open the door for another Atlantic 10 team. It could open the door for another Missouri Valley Conference team. It could open the door for a Mountain West team, maybe. And, of course, Kyle Irvine would have made it last year, the Big West. Boise State would have been in the Mountain West. So you would have had an Atlantic 10, a Mountain West, and a Big West team getting in. That's 38%. So let's pretend like the door's not open. But I always come up with the same story over and over again. I don't like using the gambling part of it because that's a separate issue.
Sure.
But doggone, they sure do get pretty close on some of these things.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
So my question would be, well, that's great. You got, I don't know, pick somebody here. Let's pick St. Louis out of the Atlantic 10. St. Louis is going to play Ohio State with Bruce Thornton and those guys. Okay? Who's the favorite? It's not St. Louis.
No.
It's Ohio State. I'm not saying that should be your basis for selecting teams, but there's a reason why they're installed in the favorite, and it's not, okay? Because the people that set these lines do not care about brand. They care about setting the line in such a way that is tantalizing for you to think about. But when they establish a favorite 5.5, 6 points, whatever it may be, 7 points, that tells you that they think that they are, in their opinion, 6 to 7 points better than the opponent. Yeah, I don't like using that.
Yeah.
But there's a reality to it.
No doubt.
I don't know if it would have saved Mike Woodson's job.
No.
They say that this is kind of a ridiculous statement. This is ridiculous, to be honest with you. Though there has been no concrete plan for how expansion would work, speculation is centered on bringing in more at-large teams, likely from major conferences, into the bracket. Such a move would come at the expense of champions of lower-level conferences. Hey, you're in.
All right. Yeah.
Okay? You're in. And this is why I say all the time to people, you know what Alabama State has? Alabama State now has an NCAA tournament win. Not a chance.
Yeah.
They have an NCAA tournament win. They beat St. Francis.
Uh-huh.
They have an NCAA tournament win. It's pretty good. It's more than they ever dreamed they'd get.
Sure.
And there'll be a point where coming out of this first 4 as a 16, because you're playing and you have momentum, that you'll give a 1 seed a run.
Yeah, and we've reached the point now where it's 16. They're not on level with a 1 by any means, but they beat them twice now.
Yeah, that's right. UMBC beat Virginia, and, of course, Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson.
So you're seeing where it's a possibility at this point. It wasn't a possibility for several years. Now you're just seeing it's not, again, you're not necessarily seeing it get even, but you are seeing better teams into the tournament.
Now, the issue is going to be is that the women's tournament did not expand to 68 until 3 years ago. They were at 64 for a long time while the men were at 68. They didn't get to 68 till 3 years ago, 2022. But they'd go to 76 same as the men. So it'd be parallel moves. Are there 8 more teams in women's basketball right now good enough to be in the tournament?
Yeah, I think you're stretching it. I think in a lot of ways.
I mean, can an 11 seed do what NC State did 2 years ago? Can an 11? Can a first 4 seed like VCU get to the Final Four? Can UCLA get to the Final Four? I mean, is that there to do?
Yeah, but the other problem,
because look, the Sweet 16 is normally populated,
yes,
on a regular basis by 13 of the schools that were seated high enough where they
absolutely
would have been bracketed to be there. Yeah, usually it's 13 to 15 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other issue, obviously, with the women's tournament, you want to increase revenue as much as you can to try to, at least offset the significant losses you're having. But the other part of it is, yes, you knew when Iowa played. You knew when Caitlin Clark played. Same with this year. You knew when UConn played. You knew when South Carolina played. How many people even knew there was a field of 68 in women's basketball and not a field of 64?
I mean,
that's
I didn't know.
Where,
I didn't know they advanced to a field of 68 until I read the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I didn't either.
I just assumed they were at 68 too.
Yeah, and
but then I kept thinking, well, where's their first 4? I didn't. I was like,
exactly.
I never even. Okay, I don't even know where their first 4 was this year.
Yeah, and you go back on many years where they struggle with attendance. They had to hold games on home courts, and they still do. UConn needed a passport to get out of stores a couple of years ago because they had so many games in there.
They play in stores, and ironically, the next round,
Hartford,
right, is either Hartford or Bridgeport.
Literally.
Like,
that's
really? Let's go to Bridgeport.
Penn State Lady Lions were the 1 seed in 2003 and have to go to Hartford. Imagine that.
Yeah,
but that was, and that's the concern for me. If you're going to expand the women's tournament, what are you going to? Can you? Well, can you? Yes.
Oh, you can.
Easy
you
answer.
Can do anything you want.
But can you in terms of make it to the point where you intrigue the interest of the viewer? Because in men's basketball, you're going to do that. People are watching the first 4.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But women's basketball, again, it's you have to figure out a way to engage that viewer. Now, obviously, if you have, let's just say Penn State. You have Penn State in the first 4 and the first 8, whatever it becomes, sure. People are going to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
But it is that lesser game where can you get that viewer in? And that, I think, is an uphill challenge for women's basketball right now, for sure. And that's unless you have that premier program, what can you do if you're going to expand to, number one, engage that viewer? Obviously, you're going to increase revenue. It's not going to be enough, but you're going to increase revenue. Yeah. But the other part of it is going to be,
we'll see.
Can you engage that viewer?
If you do this now and you can at least break even on this part, it then makes the tournament more valuable when they put out the new negotiation.
Yep. Agreed.
When the contract runs out in 2032. So what they have to do is they have to make a recommendation on expansion, and it would have to be approved by the NCAA's Division I board, and they meet again in August. So that's where they are. There you go. Yeah. Yes. Chris Magent and April sent me some pictures of their new baby. Nice. Brought their dogs to bark in the park, which is great. Magent was out playing golf today at Allegheny.
Nice.
Right? And who do you run into on the third tee box? Jackham.
There you go.
There you go. So.
I saw LaShawn McCoy and Saquon Barkley at a Penn State pick golf outing, and McCoy somehow won. I think he cheated.
You know what? That's all done for charity. Which
absolutely.
Is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all done for charity. And that's
Barkley just had a football camp. Parsons, I think, having a camp this weekend.
He is.
Yeah.
He is, as a matter of fact.
Barkley had one this week at Bishop McDevitt.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Penn Staters giving back without a doubt.
Yeah.
And to McCoy's credit, I just jokingly criticized him. McCoy has been a great asset to the Bishop McDevitt, without question.
I give him a lot of credit. I think he was coming out of high school probably a bit immature.
Big time. And schools wouldn't touch him. And that's it.
And I think to his credit, I know my opinion of him is, I give him a lot of credit.
I give him, absolutely.
I give him a lot of credit for what he's
no
done.
question about it. And that's,
a lot of credit.
Yeah, obviously got injured, I think, his senior year. I remember that.
Yeah.
But, and it turned off a lot of teams recruiting him. No doubt about it. Not only because of the injury, but his attitude. Yeah. Ended up going to Pitt, and he absolutely matured. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
All-time leading rusher for the Eagles.
I think he is.
Yeah. And the guy there now may break that at some point, but
he could.
I think,
He's got 1 year under his belt.
Exactly. He's got 1 year under his belt. But, we'll see.
Yeah. So that's where we are. It's still about the money train. Now, the All-Star game is this week. It'll be Tuesday. The draft is Sunday and Monday. Some guys that played last night, I think, are going to get drafted. I think the guy that closed the game last night, Landon O'Donnell, who tops out at 98. He came in last night with runners on first and second in a 2-run game and nobody out. Struck out the first guy, walked the next guy, bases loaded, struck out the next 2 guys, walked off the mound, got a save. And I'm talking through major, big-time gas. I thought the starting pitcher, Pengali, is a guy that should be considered drafted. He topped out at 98 last night, mostly through 96. Right? Didowick had a couple more hits, had a good series. He brings a lot to the table. He can run, field, bat. He's even though the odd thing is this team. Remember, I say all the time that there are multiple ways to win. This team is a perfect example of that. They have hit 2 home runs the whole season, and none of them here. They haven't hit a home run here. Yet they're right in the thick of trying to win the first half here because they have gap power. They run the bases well, steal a lot of bases, right? They've figured out ways to get runs, and their pitching, especially their bullpen's been really good, right? Doesn't mean every game is perfect like that. Of course it's not.
Right.
Of course it's not.
They win the first half. Again, they get the home game here in September. Playoffs. So.
We'll see. They've got 2 games to do this now, and everybody's so jumbled right now. Everybody's like within a half game of each other. It's nobody knows. Last night Mahoning Valley was losing to Williamsport, and Mahoning Valley rallied and won the game 10-9. Okay, So when I get back, we'll have a series of interviews next week. It'll be time to set up for Big Ten Media Days. And we'll talk a lot of football. We're actually going to talk about football and not just money, although money will come up. And all these things, money's going to come up. It's going to be the overriding story.
There's no doubt.
Until things are settled. It's going to be an overriding story left and right. There's already been, the clearinghouse has already rejected some deals.
Yes.
And so it's time to lawyer up. How dare you?
Yeah, well, part of that also is they reject deals. That kind of deviates the blame in a lot of ways when the deal does not go through. It's those athletes in schools, not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, where you're going with it in a lot of ways, if that truly does fall through completely. It's almost like when the professional organizations strike. It's nobody's fault, even though the fans suffer.
Oh,
Literally.
see, that's
Literally.
This is something where whenever this is on the professional level, they'll go on strike.
Yeah.
Or they're locked out.
Locked out.
One of the two.
Usually
Strike-
locked out.
strike-
Usually
strike or
locked out for a
okay.
lengthy period first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do the players say? Well, you can't have a game without the players.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get something straight here. That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Accurate.
But you also can't have the game without owners.
Owners, fans.
People who pay the salaries and so forth. And last but not least, you can't have a game without fans.
Right.
Because all that money you're making comes from them.
Absolutely. We're not just talking those that sit in the stands either. We're talking about the merchandise sales and everything else that you come together.
Cable bills. Streaming
certainly.
bills.
You have devoted fans that...
Cable bills, streaming bills, merchandise, tickets.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, PSLs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luxury suites, where the wine and brie crowd that you hang
crowd
with.
that I have. Yep.
Yeah, they love you up there.
They do. They do.
You're just a man of the people. You dress
That's right.
down.
That's right. That's right.
Kind of take away from that CEO image
That's right.
you have.
That's right. But all of the above that you named, the price of it is increasing and increasing too.
And, for example, I mean, was it Tennessee put a 10% fee on tickets?
Yeah.
And, and the fans did not balk at that.
No.
Because they knew the money was going to make up for the $20.5 million, which is this particular year. And it's more than $20.5 million. Remember, there are additional scholarships that they are handing out this year in sports across the board, if they so desire. And coaches, I mean, athletic directors have gone to coaches and said, okay, you're allowed to have X, what number do you think is best for you to work with? Okay. Like Kale, for example, I think he can get 30, he's not going to go with 30 because he thinks it's best for how they operate. It's like men's basketball; they're allowed to go to 15. Mike told me back in January, he says, no. I said, I got to keep it at 13. He said, that's a workable number, right? Because, I mean, you have to find guys playing time and things like that. How do you go about this? Even as I mentioned before, women's basketball has been allowed to have 15 for a long time. I don't think there's a women's basketball program in the country that has 15 because they have male practice squads. There's no need to have the extra people there. It's about managing the group that you have. Okay? And sometimes, 15 for a basketball coach can sometimes be, minus walk-ons. I mean, because you still have walk-ons. But in terms of the number of scholarship players, most coaches will tell you in basketball, having 15 scholarship players, while a nice luxury, is too big a number. And let's face it, with people transferring left and right, if your scholarship's 11 through 15, you're automatically candidates to be one and dones and go someplace else.
Yep.
No patience these days.
Nope.
It's like you at the merchandise stand at Metallica.
Wow.
No patience.
It's hard to have patience there.
Yeah.
The line goes 75 deep, and you just don't have the...
Yeah, but I wouldn't scream out the stuff you scream out. You're not supposed to do that in a crowded movie theater.
No, you shouldn't.
God, you act so desperate.
Yeah.
So you're going to go down to the arts festival?
No, I haven't had, not this year at least. I haven't had the chance to get down there.
Oh, it's a big weekend.
It is.
Yeah. It's interesting when it comes to name, image, and likeness. Let's take the collectives out of it. Okay, so let's take the collectives out of it for a moment. Let's just do pure name, image, and likeness. Hi, I'm Jason Lord for Name Car Company.
Yep.
Okay. exactly how many athletes out there actually do these commercials and are a draw? Oh, sure. You want to be like Mike?
Right.
LeBron's in a bunch of commercials. Who else is in a bunch of commercials?
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown. Good player.
No. Jokic doesn't have any.
Okay. Jokic
There's one, I think.
He doesn't even want it.
Yeah.
Doncic.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, now, do you see Giannis? Sure. How about the Webb and Yama commercials?
Yeah.
No, not there?
Nope.
In the NFL, Mahomes.
Plenty. Yeah.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay. Barkley. Barkley's now, Saquon's doing more of them now. He was in that one with Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts? No.
Not many? Nope.
Oh, he's done a couple.
Yep.
But
not enough to know, though.
there aren't that many.
No.
Okay?
Nope.
In the NHL, who in the NHL is doing commercials? Okay? Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Right? They do
Baseball
they do local stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all do local
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
But I'm talking about national brands.
Yeah.
I'm talking about pure NIL. Now, locally, you can do that. But, for example, would a Penn State wrestler be on a national commercial?
Not a
Of
chance.
course not.
No.
No, in this state, recognizable,
Yeah.
heroic,
Absolutely.
the whole thing. And Carter Starachi was named the Big Ten Male Athlete of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Car dealership commercials. Yeah.
Hey, you can, but locally,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're not going to have them
Locally.
nationally, no.
but no national
Yeah.
things.
The same with football. You're not going to even have them nationally in football.
No.
No.
Okay, so I'll give you one. Is there anybody nationally? Right, say he gets off to a good start. Arch Manning? I don't know. I mean, and I don't even know how
Jeremiah
good.
Smith, maybe.
And I don't even know how good he is.
No, you don't know.
Right? You don't. But there's no national. Let's go back to the Dr. Pepper commercials. When this first came out, Dr. Pepper did a campaign, and DJ Uyunglele from Clemson was on the commercials. Later on, it was Caleb Williams, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then it was Young.
Bryce Young. Yeah.
Bryce Young, right. But originally, it was DJ Uyunglele. And guess what? Clemson got off to a bad start. He got off to a bad start, and after 1 month, the commercial disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So these mega deals that you can get are only through national entities. Adidas, Nike, right? Ford, Chevy, whatever it may be, or Dr. Pepper, right? Most of these deals are local deals. Okay? Hey, they're local deals. So they're not mega deals. But it's a great supplement to the money they're already getting from the university. But I made this point a long time ago. Right. Let's take Gavin McKenna. Gavin McKenna is officially signed with Penn State. All right? Nice national story, announced it on ESPN, the whole deal. And Gavin McKenna, I think they're doing a Guy Gadowski bobblehead at the end of the season for the Spikes. Well, the hockey team's going to be there. Well, if the hockey team's going to be there, in all likelihood, there's a good chance Gavin McKenna's going to be there. He'll be a draw, without question. Okay? But any NIL deal that he gets is going to be probably here because it's not going to resonate nationally until he gets to the NHL, and then maybe it will. Maybe. I mean, Connor McDavid wasn't on everybody's TV screen when he was first drafted by the Edmonton Oilers, and neither was Jack Eichel when he was second by the Sabres. mean, Caitlin Clark did commercials. Juju
Sure.
Watkins
Juju
did
does,
commercials. Cooper Flagg was in a commercial this year. These are all State Farm, right?
Yeah.
And I think Cameron Brink is in there. She's also does.
I think so. Yeah,
she also-
Cameron Brink's in one.
she also-
Sabrina Ionescu's in a car commercial.
Yeah, but I'm talking about college players when they were in college.
Oh, when they were in college. Yeah.
College commercials. I mean, because Brink's now a pro. I mean, I think she plays for Los Angeles. I think.
Yes.
She was also in New Balance. No, she didn't have to say anything. She just flips the
show
ball
the
behind
shoes.
her back.
Yep.
But there just aren't that many. In other words, there are thousands of athletes in college.
Right.
I mean, we can name 5 to 7 that are doing it. And most of them are with State Farm.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I'm not saying you're easily influenced, but I understand you've got $8 million now in coverage.
That's right. Jake came through.
Kept calling up Jake and said, I need more. I got a car, I got a house, I think I have my own business. So since I think I have my own business, how about some business insurance? Oh, sure. I need to insure my Metallica collection. Oh, there we go. Every time the commercial came on, Jason's buying more insurance.
They popped to my house when they say like a good neighbor quite a few times by accident. Thought, oh, no, it's supposed to be Caitlin Clark, not his house. The other way.
Yeah. So, I don't know what kind of deals agents can make, but look, most of this stuff is local.
Absolutely.
I mean, most of it's local or from the region that they grew up in, right? What? What are you? Schuylkill County? What are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Grew up in Schuylkill. Yeah.
Okay. So example, big car dealership in Schuylkill County. Jason's the starting quarterback at Penn State. Schuylkill County guy, they want you to come do the commercial for them. Yeah. You're the local hero.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, but the national stuff's where the big money is. That's not okay. That's money.
Yeah.
And it's good money. But it's, because I'll never forget years ago, it was a radio commercial. They were doing a promotion with McDonald's, and they wanted me to do the voiceover for it. Okay. And so I did it. There's like 2 or 3 of them, and they rotated whatever they were. And every month for the rest of the year, I was getting checks.
Nice.
Right? Now, was it a ton of money? No, but it was like that's the way, like the big ones work.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So, yeah. All right, so interviews next week, then back here in the studio on the 21st of July, and we will head into Big Ten Media Days. Have a great week, everybody, and enjoy the interviews next week.